click on the subscribe button, and press the bell icon, to never miss any updates.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair, sister. Takbir. Okay, so I'm going to introduce our next speaker. We're short on time. A little background about Sister Humaira Awal. Sister Humaira Awal has completed the memorization and research of the Holy Quran and Masjid Nabawi in Saudi Arabia, and she has graduated from Darul Uloom, New York, and is currently studying astronomy and economics at Columbia University while pursuing a Mufti course training under the guidance of Mufti Rahul Amin in Darul Quran wa Sunnah. As a youth member of United Nations General Assembly, Sister Humaira also serves as an operations committee member for the Food Bank of Colombia to help the underprivileged community. In addition to being a student leader, she is the chair of membership for the University Life Events Council, as well as the Columbia University Welcome Ambassador, and is a novelist and poet. Sister Humaira Awal.
Jazakallah khair for that introduction. Alhamdulillah, I wanted to thank Sister Afsa first for her beautiful, inspiring speech. And I'm probably going to stand up because I want to see all of your beautiful faces. Alhamdulillah, first of all, I want to just say that how lucky we all are that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala got us into a masjid, and I can promise you this is the most valuable thing in the world, to be able to come to a masjid. And then you might think, okay, I was just walking by the masjid, so I just got in, that's like natural, but it's not. I mean, it's a million times harder to get selected to get into a masjid for even 1 minute than it is to get into, for example, like myself in an Ivy League. 40,000 students apply, and we only take like 1,500. But it's Allah, out of 7 billion people in the world, Allah picked each and every one of you for some reason. There is something so special inside each and every one of us here that you may not know it yourself, but it is there because Allah saw it. And Allah created you, so Allah knows that there's something in there that's better than the other million children in New York City. And you were all chosen, so first and foremost, we have to be so grateful to Allah for making us that person, for allowing us to come and either listen or speak about Allah, because this is the most precious gathering in the world. So when you look up at the sky, like she mentioned, I am majoring in astronomy, and I hope to become an astronaut. But for my research, I spent hours, like we have an observatory on top of our astronomy department at Columbia, and I spent hours there researching, looking at stars. And there's something you notice when you look up at the sky at night, without being an astronomer, like any normal person, what do you see? It's dark, right? Super dark. But there are some things that glitter all over the place. What are those? Stars. So for us in this world, we look up at the sky and we see stars. And that's the only thing we can notice. Everything else is so dark and sad. So for the people in the sky, for the angels, when they look down at Earth, what they see, the whole world is pitch dark. And there are places in the middle of the world that's like glittering like stars. So they ask Allah sends them to check out those places and what's going on in those places. There are some places on Earth that are glittering. And they come down to check and they see that there are people from different families like us who got together. We're talking only about Allah. We didn't come here to bake cakes. We didn't come here to exchange clothes. We didn't come here to do party or celebrate birthdays. We came here to actually talk about Allah and learn to be better Muslims, better human beings. Because the only way you can be a better human being is by being a better Muslim. There is absolutely no other way. Because if you study history, if you ever take courses in history, you'll know that before Islam, women did not have any position in this world. They couldn't vote. Even in America, like even my classmates, they work at like McKinsey, they work at law firms, and they all complain to me that just because they're a woman, they get a lot less money than their male colleagues. For example, if in a job, a woman would probably get $70,000 a year. For the same job, her friend, who's a guy, he's going to get $100,000 a year for the exact same job, doing the exact same work. And my friends, non-Muslim friends, they complain to me all the time, and I tell them that if you were Muslim, that if Islam was here today, then they wouldn't be able to do that, because Islam clearly states that every single person in this world, men and women, are 100% equal. There's absolutely no distinction. And yes, they're not 100% equal. Women do have a little bit more rights in Islam. Allah gives us a little bit more right. For example, we go to Jannah first. The first Muslim in this world was a woman. The first person to spend her money for Islam was a woman. The first Muslim scholar was a woman. So, alhamdulillah, we should be proud of ourselves for a couple of reasons. First of all, that Allah made us Muslim. And second, that we're Muslim women, not men. So we are more beloved to Allah. And when in Jannah, those Muslim women who actually observe hijab, you know how every Friday, every single person in Jannah is going to go to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And Allah will come to Jannah to visit those Muslims who are women and who used to observe hijab, because Allah respects them so much. Allah is going to say, you guys stay in your place, I'm going to come and visit you. You don't have to come. That's how much Allah respects Muslim women. So, the first thing that I'm going to tell all of us and myself, that just from the bottom of your heart, for just 1 second, just think of Allah and be grateful to this fact that Allah made you Muslim, and Allah made you a woman, and Allah allows you to come to the house of Allah, which is 1 billion times more valuable than being admitted into Harvard or Yale or Princeton or Columbia or any other special places in the world. It's billions of times more valuable. Because honestly, anybody can actually go to school. You can wake up in the morning and decide to walk to school, but anybody cannot come to a house of Allah. For example, if you all live in houses, right? So can a random person who's walking by the street just not like without knocking on your door just like pop inside your house? It's not allowed, right? You don't let people in. You don't let strangers in. So this is the house of Allah, masjid. Anybody just can't like walk inside. You have to be very special. You have to be invited here, and that is why you're here. And that's why you should love yourself and love each other, because the person next to you also has something very special inside them. So, there are a couple of things. Alhamdulillah, one of the most special part about our program is that Ramadan is coming up, and it's the time to be excited about. If someone is excited about Ramadan, Allah promised to keep the person excited throughout the year. Like if you're happy about Ramadan, Allah is going to keep you happy throughout the year. And if you're like not so happy, Allah is not going to keep you so happy throughout the year. So try to be like really excited about Ramadan and really happy. The Sahabas, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, what they used to do is that they used to spend like months preparing for this month. They used to like wrap up all of their works, they used to put away their stuffs, they used to like literally clean out their houses so that they could spend the entire month of Ramadan thinking about Allah and praying to Allah and asking Allah for all the things that you would possibly need. So Ramadan is a month. The one every single person would see as an opportunity. It's not a punishment. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to ask Allah for all the things that you ever wanted, ever needed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it is a month where your prayers are accepted. It never happens that you're a Muslim and you pray to Allah for something that is not going to happen. It cannot happen. Allah promised, Inna wa'adallahi haqq. Allah promised that I never lie. Allah says, I'm always saying the truth. So if I tell you that I'm going to accept your prayers, then I will accept your prayers. Does that make sense? Yeah? So, we need to be, after we're grateful to Allah, we need to be proud of ourselves as being Muslim. Because as a Muslim, every single person is an ambassador. Because we're the followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are we having any other prophet after that? No. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the last prophet. So what happened was that, does anyone know what ambassadors do? We represent countries, we represent people, right? For example, like last month I was the Columbia University decided to make me one of their welcome ambassadors for my school. So basically what my job is, that I need to represent my school to everybody, like other Ivy Leagues. I have to go to places where I represent Columbia. So the way I treat people is that's the way people are going to think Columbia University is, right? But for Muslims, we are ambassadors, each and every single one of you. You could be young, you may not even have finished high school yet, but you are ambassadors. And what do ambassadors do? They represent their country. They represent their nation. They represent their religion. So when you see an ambassador from maybe India or someplace coming over here, they're going to probably wear a shari or something because they're representing their country. They're not ashamed of it, are they? No, because they're representing their country. They're supposed to. And honestly, if you think about it, I noticed one thing in my time in high school and in college, that people respect you more when you have personality. Even a Americans, when they see someone who's trying to be like them and trying to pretend like them and trying to act like them, they don't like it. They say, oh, this person is a suck up. They're just trying to like give up all of their qualities and trying to be like us, which they're not. So they never respect someone for trying to be like them. People respect you a lot more when you're trying to be like yourself. They may not show it, but they will. Inside their heart, they're going to respect you like crazy. So always remember, never. Why do we care about people when we go somewhere? Like when you get inside a room, you look around and see how many people are looking at me. What are they thinking of my clothes, right? What are they thinking about my hijab? What are they thinking about the way I'm sitting? But if I told you to get into a room where there were like 50 cats sitting down, kittens, pigeons, I don't know, whatever. If you're scared of cats, imagine pigeons sitting. Are you gonna sit there and look at all the birds and say, oh my God, is the bird thinking my clothes looks weird? You wouldn't care. Why? They're living beings. They can see. Of course they have eyes. Come on. Birds, they got better eyes than us. Why don't you care about what the birds are thinking? Let's say some birds make squeaking noises and says like, and they're like insulting us in their own language, okay? Are you gonna care? Are you gonna go run back home and change your clothes and wear something the cat or the bird likes more? Absolutely not. Do you know why we're not gonna do that? Because we don't care about what they think, right? So why are we not caring about what they think? Because we don't think they have brains. We don't think they're intelligent, right? We don't think they're educated, or we don't think they matter. They're just birds. They're just gonna fly away. So this is the mentality every single Muslim girls, Muslim people should have in their minds. Don't care about what people think. Only care about what Allah thinks. And you know why it's important? Because, for example, I teach classes in other places too. So there's a student who came to me. So how many of you have state tests coming up? A lot of you, right? Finished. Okay, and the results are going to come in. So inshallah today I got some, because I'm having finals too. I have 5 finals this coming week. But I still came here because I know one thing, that who controls my grades and all of our grades? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't depend on how much you study and how many pages you write. No, Allah decides what grade you're going to get. Even if you're the most brilliant student in the world, and you study 24/7, are you still going to get an A+? If Allah wants. If Allah doesn't, then maybe not. So I had this student who was struggling with her SATs. It was before now the SATs changed, but when it was like that time, it was 2,400 points in total to get 3 exams, and then it split into like 800, 800, 800. So she was so frustrated. She said she couldn't study at all, and she got 1,700 something in her final grades. And she was worried that she wasn't going to get into an Ivy League or any other good school. And I taught her some du'as, which I'm going to share with all of you inshallah today. I got some du'as that you do good in exams, and if you already gave your exams, there are some prayers that if you read, inshallah, the results are going to be in your favor. For example, even if it's not an exam, even if it's a blood test, and you want the results to be positive, or something good, so that you can, if you read that dua, Allahumma inni as'aluka min fija'atil khair, inshallah, Allah is going to always give you the good results. So my student, she just finished high school, and she was telling me that she had a bad grade, and she was so worried. CUNY rejected her. They said they're not going to take her. And she said, what should I do? I said, first of all, you have to believe that Allah controls everybody, including every single person next to you, every single of your classmates, every single of your teachers. So when you look at someone, if you try to make that person happy, and if you don't try to make Allah happy, you know what Allah is going to do? Allah is going to turn the person's heart against you. Because He controls people's heart. You can sack someone, you can really be nice to someone, and you can give them all of your money and all of your clothes and all of your jewelry. The person may still hate you, if Allah wants the person to, right? And you may not even say hi to somebody, and the person might just love you, because Allah will change their hearts and make them love you. This is what I learned in my life. No matter what you do, always remember that if you keep Allah happy, Allah will make the people around you happy. Definitely. It may be hard to imagine. How is that even possible? So my student, her name is Sarah. So Sarah said that she got it. So I helped her with her application. I do that with my high school students. I help them out with their application so that, because I've been through the process and I know what good colleges look for in their application. So I try to edit their essays and things like that. So I was helping her out, and alhamdulillah, she was called in for an interview from Harvard. which is a big deal because I know what those college admissions committee look for because I've been there for a long time. So they look for leaders, kind of. So you just have to convince them that you're leaders. And at the end, I'm gonna share my email address with you so that in the future, if anyone of you are interested in getting help or advice, I'm always there because I'm also a mentor at Columbia. I mentor students. So this student, after her essay got accepted, she was called in for an interview. Now, she just started to wear hijab 1 week ago. That was last Ramadan, so it's she just started wearing hijab. And she was so worried. She said, if I wear hijab now and go to my interview, what if they don't accept me? My grades are not good. I don't have that many extracurricular activities. What should I do? And then I told her this one simple thing. I said, listen, just remember one thing. Everything in the world, who controls it? Do you control it? Do the admissions committee control it? Or does Allah control it? And she had to admit, Allah controls it. I said, who controls your heart and their heart? Does Allah control their hearts or do they control their hearts? And she admitted, no, Allah controls their heart, I believe that. I said, okay, then if you keep Allah happy, what do you think Allah is going to do? And she said, Allah is going to make them happy. It's right. So she went to her interview and she kept her hijab on. Alhamdulillah, she got in with full scholarship. She's now in her second year. So always remember one thing. You might be tempted and think okay, before I get into my school, let me take off my hijab because my parents forced me to wear it, because my friends are going to be happy with me. But trust me, no one will be happy with you if you make Allah displeased. They will pretend to be happy with you. They will pretend to like you, but in reality, they won't. So always remember, if you keep Allah first, Allah is going to keep you first. That's how Allah treats people. So, for example, I can talk about myself. When I was studying in school, everybody around me told me, because my friends used to go to elite private schools. They took 5 dance classes every week. They had piano lessons. They did so many things. They had their whole schedule was filled. They didn't have any time to read the Quran or do anything. And they all told me, you're wasting your time. You're becoming a hafiz. You're spending 6-7 hours instead of doing homework and assignments, and you're reading the Quran. You're gonna fall behind. They all warned me, you're gonna fall behind. Even their parents used to come and talk to me, you're 9 years old and instead of going to a music class, you're reading the Quran. You're not gonna be successful. But when we were little, when we were young, there was a book that we read, and I'm going to encourage all of you to make sure you buy it or make your parents buy it and read it. It's called Fadail A'mal. It's a book that tells you, it's basically a hadith book. So, for example, I'm an alim. I graduated from Duni. I'm sure some of you go to Duni too, right? I see blue dresses, so that was my uniform too. So if you are, then you know that I graduated from there as alima. So in my last year, in my Bukhari class, I remember that we used to spend hours and hours and hours studying a single hadith. For example, how to do wudu, right? We'd spend hours learning about how to do wudu properly. This is how many times to wash your hands. There were 10 people out there who did wudu 10 different kind of ways. We used to study all of them and we used to figure out which ones are the best way. But in that book that we're talking about, Fadail A'mal, we learned what I learned, that every single thing that you do in this world, there's a reward for it. And people, it's okay, we're selfish. If someone tells you, get into a good school, get good grades, you're going to get good money, we're going to try to do that, right? People always look for something that's going to benefit them. So, what I did was that I said, no, I learned that if you memorize the Quran, what's going to happen if you memorize the Quran? Does anyone know? You stay in the highest position in paradise, right? So the Jannah has 6,000 floors, and every single floor is better than the floor before it. So if you're a hafiz, Allah is going to tell you at the Day of Judgment, start reading the Quran. Start from Surah Al-Fatiha, start from Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, and then you're going to climb up until you reach the top. And then when you're at the top, you're going to be the biggest Jannah, the most beautiful place in the world. So I started to memorize the Quran, and when I finished memorizing the Quran, all my friends said, now you have to get into the best high school full-time. After school, make sure you go to 10 tutoring centers to get into the best college. And then after I finished high school, I wanted to become an alim because I read the Quran and I felt frustrated because I couldn't understand it. And I wanted to know what Allah was telling us in those lines. And then I started to look for places where I can actually study the Quran. So when I was in Medina at that time. For 2 years, I revised the Quran. And I was doing, it's called Muraja. in Saudi Arabia, they call it muraja. So it was in Masjid Nabawi. We used to sit in circles like you girls, and we used to read the Quran. And that's where I learned, after I graduated, they gave me a certificate, which said that I was like officially like eligible to teach Quran from now on on behalf of Masjid Nabawi. And as when I was coming back to America, the teachers there, they promised me one thing. I was barely able to speak Arabic at that time. It was broken. So I was just learning. They made me promise one thing. They said, you're going to go to America. I want you to promise one thing, that you're going to go to your country and you're going to teach all the people there the Quran, the kind of Quran that you learned here. And I promised them. I said, yes, I do promise. I will do that. And then when I came back here, after I graduated from Dawah right here around the corner, all of my classmates, they started to teach in madrasas. They became teachers. They started to teach classes, which is great. I love it. Which is an amazing opportunity. But I made a promise to those people who taught me the Quran in Medina. I said, I'm going to go around America and I'm going to teach young girls how to read the Quran properly and actually what the message the Quran gives us, what message it gives us. So I decided to go to Muslims and teach kids. So I still do that now. I have like 50 to 100 kids coming to me every week. So this is what we're made for. This is what Allah wants us to do. So every single one of you, remember how I said you're all ambassadors? Your job, your objective is to be the kind of Muslim that's going to represent Islam to the whole world. And trust me, the Prophet ﷺ, our Prophet, he never cared about himself. He used to cry all night, and you know what he used to say? The only word that ever came out of his mouth was, Ya Rab Ummati, Ya Rab Ummati. Oh Allah, my followers. What's going to happen to them? Who's going to take care of them? Are they going to be able to stay Muslim? Is it going to be too hard for them? So our job as the followers of Muhammad ﷺ is to constantly think of the people around you. I noticed a lot of you raised your hands when we asked like how many of you went to public school. I myself went to public school. But how many of our classmates and teachers are Muslim? Not that many, right? So if you die at this moment, if you go to Jannah, I can promise you one thing, every single one of your classmates are going to stop you from going to Jannah. They're going to say, you were my classmate, you were sitting right next to me for the whole year, and you never told me about Islam. How would I have known? You're going to go to Jannah and you're leaving me behind? I'm not going to let that happen. So we have to make sure there's not a single person in New York City, in America, in the whole world, who dies from this world without being a Muslim. And how do we do that? For starters, Ramadan is coming up, and what happens in Ramadan? Your du'as are accepted, right? So in Ramadan, you can pray to Allah so that Allah makes every single person in the world Muslim. We do not want anyone to die as a non-Muslim in this world. It's just not acceptable. It's too painful. Imagine, let's say you're walking from the masjid and going back home, and you saw a little cat, or a puppy, or a kitten who's burning, who's caught fire and is burning. How are you gonna feel? Really terrible, right? Aren't you going to try do something desperate to save that cat or kitten or puppy? Even though it's an animal, every single person in this room would feel terrible. So when you think of the people around you who are not Muslim, they're beautiful, nice people. So aren't you going to feel bad for those people? If they die at this moment without becoming Muslim, they're going to go to Jahannam. It's a terrible place. It's not an option. Going there is not an option. I'm sure some of you have tried baking in your lifetime. I started baking when I was 8 years old, right? You help your mom bake cupcakes or muffins. If you ever try to put your hand in the oven by accident without wearing a gloves, do you know how that feels? It feels terrible. You feel like your hands are going to burn and it's so painful. The fire of Jahannam is a trillion times more worse than this. Trillions of times more worse. So it's not an option. We don't want anybody in the world to go there. So all of your jobs are going to be, alhamdulillah, you're here. Allah loves you so much already. So when you all grow up, I want every single one of us here to make intention that when we grow up, we're going to go to every single part of the world and we're going to tell people, and we're going to teach young girls and teach other Muslims how to be better people, how to become a proper Muslim. Because if we don't, someone out there might die without becoming a Muslim, and that's going to come on us. So when I was like you guys' age, remember I said how we used to do ta'aleem of Filayl A'mal? So we had this globe in my house. I had this globe. Does anyone have a globe in their house? The whole world in a circle? Yeah, we had that when I was young. So basically what we did was that me and my younger sister, we split the world into two parts. We put a line in the middle. And we said, my sister chose the top part of the world, so the globe goes like this. The top part is like Russia, China, Canada, you know, that top part. And I chose the bottom part. I wasn't thinking. So the reason we did that is because when we read about how it's important, how we are ambassadors and we represent Islam, we decided, me and my sister, that we were going to go to the whole world and make this part Muslim. So we were only two sisters, so we had to split the world into two parts. And I said, I'm going to take the bottom part, I'm going to go to all these countries and make everybody there Muslim. And she said, I'm going to take the top part. Now she's smarter, so she got lucky. She only got like Russia and China, some big countries. And then what we had to do is after we finished high school, we started to learn languages. French, Spanish, and my language never ended because I have like 500 countries almost in my part. And my sister, she took the top part, so she knows Russian now, and she covered half the world already, so she's done. So the reason we did this is that as Muslims, it's not just me and my sisters, every single person in this room has this responsibility to go to every single country, or at least pray for those people. Make dua for those people. Every single day during iftar, when you have food in front of you, think of all the Muslims in the world who don't have food right now. Remember how I mentioned a few minutes ago that we were lucky that we're here? We're lucky that we're getting Ramadan. And we should be excited about Ramadan. Guess what? There are millions and millions of Muslims right now in China. They're being held in re-education camp. They call it re-education camp. So basically they're taken forcibly from their homes. They're young girls just like you. They live with their parents, but they're taken away from their parents and they're put into a school. And in the entire month of Ramadan, we're going to be fasting and they are going to be forced to eat 3 times a day. They're going to be forced to eat pork. They are forced to do it. If they don't, they get punished so much. Can you imagine Allah didn't put us in that situation? They are not worse than us. They're actually just like us. They could be better than us. But right now they're not so lucky to be able to fast in the month of Ramadan. But we are. We still have that opportunity. So take this opportunity and use this to pray for those Muslims. The young children, I know there are a lot of young people here. You live with your parents. Those Muslims in China, they were taken away from their parents. They were taken away from their parents and they were put into a school where they were forced to learn 8 hours every single day that how bad that Islam is. Can you imagine? We take it for granted that we're Muslim, we have Ramadan, we're going to fast, but those Chinese Muslims, they don't. And they're our brothers and sisters. We should love them, we should care for them, and we have to pray for them. Okay? So at the end of this gathering, we have like 10 more minutes. What we're going to do at the end, inshallah, we're going to pray together as a class. Because when a lot of Muslims join hands and ask Allah for something, Allah gives it to them, right? So we're all going to pray for a lot of things, including ourselves and all the Muslims in the world, and also so that Allah gives those of you who gave your exams so that we all get good grades, okay, inshallah? But then, before that, let me just finish what I was saying. So after I finished high school, everybody said, like, you need to get into college right away. And I wanted to become an alim. Do everybody know what alim is? Alim is like the 6-7 years you spend learning the meaning of the Quran, learning hadith, and learning how to pray properly, how to fast properly. So I spent a couple of years doing that, and everybody said, you are wasting your life. You're never going to be successful. No decent college in the world is ever going to take someone who's like so old now, because you're going to be competing with 18-year-olds, right? Then I said, I know one thing. If I put Allah first, what's Allah going to do? He's going to put me first, right? I'm never going to be harming myself by putting Islam first. So what I did was that I finished Alim course, I graduated from Duni, and then I applied to all the Ivy Leagues that there were there. And I explained to them, look, I became Hafiz when I was young. I became an Islamic scholar after I finished high school, and now I really want to help the world. I really want to save people. I'm part of the UN youth program. So like every single year I have to go to the General Assembly in New York City, in Manhattan. And I actually sit with all the leaders of the world and we talk about how to make the world a better place. And then when they looked through my application, they said, like, we would love to have you in our community. And then Harvard called the week later and said, we would love to have you in our community. But then I chose Columbia, obviously, because I lived in New York City, and I know there are a lot of Muslims in New York City, and if I stay here, I'd be able to like go to all the masjids and talk to people about Islam. And after I got into Columbia, like my classmates were at that time, they were some of them were graduating from community colleges, some of them dropped out. They were all saying, oh my God, now you're like insane because you're gonna wear this and go to school. You're gonna look like this. People are gonna be terrified of you. And I said, look, who controls people's heart? Allah controls people's heart. Now, I could wear a bikini and go to school. They could be disgusted of me. It's like, oh my God, this girl, she doesn't have a personality. She's trying to be like us. But then I said, no, I'm gonna make Allah happy, and Allah will make other people happy. So what I started to do is, like, I started to go. I signed up for all the student programs. I became a student leader for this. Every single semester I've been an orientation leader. I'm a junior marshal, like next week I have to be there for the graduating class. So junior marshals are basically like the people who make sure the graduates, they line up properly and their parents are seated properly. And then
there's a Honda pilot in the driveway, please lock the driveway. Can you please move your car? There's a Honda pilot in the driveway, can you please move your car?
Okay. So what I've noticed in my time here and all over the world, I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Bangladesh, I've been to England, what I noticed was that if you make Allah happy, Allah will definitely make other people happy with you, because Allah controls their heart. We don't control it. You don't control it. Only Allah controls your heart. So there are some things that I'm going to give every single person. If you're sisters, then I'm just going to say, like, take one per family, because I'm not sure if I made enough copies. I think it was this week was my finals, and I had to like print out. We do get 200 pages of copy from our university printer, but I had to print like my stuffs too. So I tried to make copies for like maybe I think 30 or 35. So I'm gonna ask like 2 volunteers in the front come up so we can hand these out. Okay? So yeah, absolutely. Who wants to come up? Anyone who's brave? You hand out to people, you know, you're gonna get rewarded. Yes.
Joe, Nala Joe.
Yes. So give each person 1 copy, and if you have like, it's fine. 2 sisters get 1. So like, don't worry about this now. There's a place for you to write your name on top. So I'd say like, do it at home. I put some du'as, which are extremely beneficial. I do that all the time. Like literally, my classmates, they're dying right now in Columbia. Like they're literally breaking down. They're going to CPS, the counseling service, because it's finals. People like sort of, they commit suicide at Columbia every single semester before the finals. And I look at them and I say, you think this grade is important? They're just letters. They're just numbers. And I literally, every single time what happens is that my finals are before Ramadan, and I have to be like at a program every single day. Like yesterday, all day I was in a program at another masjid. And I literally, there is a paper due tomorrow. I didn't even start it. I'm going to do it tonight after going home. But it doesn't bother me. You know why? Because I know someone else controls my grade. Allah does, not the teachers. And I read these du'as here, the ones that I gave you, and you'll see that. And also I would say, when you go home and you have time, read through these. I wrote it, okay? Read through some of the, whatever I told you, I summarized it and I wrote it for you guys. And then, remember how I said how Islam gives you the most right in the world? There's a document in the back. I also added how Islam gives you more right. So feel free to go over that. And I've had like dozens of my classmates and teachers becoming Muslim after they read this at Columbia. There was my astronomy professor. He became Muslim a few years ago when he learned that Islam. So I'm studying astronomy. I didn't mention why. Because when I was reading the Quran, I noticed that Islam actually has so much science in it. The Quran is filled with science. I don't have more, so I have to just share it. So, and these du'as, girls, do read it when you go home, because inshallah, if you already gave your exam, your grades are going to come in out great, inshallah. And if you haven't given your exam, then Allah is going to make your exam super easy for you. So, like I said, everybody who told me not to become hafiz, not to become alim, now they're like so shocked. They're like, what? They let you become the Columbia University ambassador, and you're going to go out like this and talk to people. I said, yeah. I mean, last week I wore this and everybody loved my abaya. They really liked it. They said, like, okay, this looks kind of cool. But my point is that never ever care about what people think. You need to be brave. You need to be strong, because you are the best. Allah mentioned in the Quran, "Kuntum khayra ummah." You're the best of all the people. Do not care about what people think. You're a Muslim. You're the best. That's the period. There's no question about it. Now, now you don't have to go around worrying about what other people are thinking, because you wouldn't care what cats think about you, right? You wouldn't care if a room full of cats are angry with you and think you're not cool. Would you care? So why would you care if you go to a school and your classmates don't think you're cool? It's the same thing. And you know what? If you ever think of what people, like let's say you're thinking of what people are thinking about you, that means you think that person is valuable. You think that person is something big. And the second someone starts thinking that another person is important, then you know what Allah does? Allah is going to immediately give that person power over you. So for example, if you go to some place, and then let's say you look at some person and you're thinking that, oh, this person is like wearing a short skirt and she's very cool, she's very hot, and I think I need to make her happy and I need to look like her. Then what Allah is going to do is Allah is going to immediately give her power over you. So it goes in all situations in life. If you ever think someone is important, then Allah is going to give that person power over you. So remember that every single person in this room, you represent Islam, and as an ambassador of Islam, you have to care about Muslims. That's what leaders do. Leaders care about their country. So if Islam is the country you're talking about, as a leader, you should be caring about what other Muslims are feeling like. If there's a Muslim in the world there are going to be thousands and thousands of people who won't have iftar this Ramadan, right? When you eat iftar every single day, I want you to spend 1 minute of your life thinking about those Muslims and thinking about how much they're suffering, and then pray for those people, okay? Because listen, if you pray for other people, Allah is going to tell the angels to pray for you. For example, if you pray, like for example, let's say your friend Sumaya sitting next to you. If you pray to Allah so that Allah gives Sumaya good grades in her exams, you know what Allah is going to do first? Allah is going to give you the best grade first. Okay? So always remember, pray for others. Allah is going to make the angels pray for you and give you that thing first. So inshallah, what we're going to have to do in Ramadan is that just remember that Ramadan is a time where Allah promised to accept all your prayers. And Allah loves it when you pray for other people before you pray for yourself. So it's great, you can ask Allah for every single thing. I mean, come on, you want a new dress for Eid, you want a brand new bike, you want a bigger room, you want nice clothes, you want to get into a special high school, you want to get into an Ivy League, ask Allah for all of that. That's great. But the most important thing is ask Allah so that He accepts you to preach Islam to every single corner of the world, okay? So that's one thing we're going to pray to Allah for together as a class. That we're going to pray so that Allah makes every single person in this world Muslim. And also, remember how I know that I work with high school students a lot. When you look up at someone, what are you supposed to look into that person? Like let's say Americans, they're obsessed with celebrities, right? I mean, everybody's obsessed with celebrities. I know that because like at Columbia we have a lot of celebrities studying there. We have people like who are real life princes, they're actors, models, famous people, they study there all the time. And I noticed that, for example, there are people who are like dying over Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. They are crazy for their music. It happens, right? I'm sure your classmates are crazy for them, some of them. And just remember one thing, if Justin Bieber or Selena Gomez and all those cool people who we think is cool, who non-Muslims think are cool, they have millions of fans, correct? They have millions of people who watch their movies, listen to their music. But tell me one thing, if this second, if they die, and they're buried, are there going to be one person in this world who's going to pray 2 rakat salah and give them the reward? No. They're their fans, they're supposed to care for them. But is there going to be one person who's going to go to their grave every single day and recite Surah Fatiha and Qul Allah 3 times and send them the reward? No. So, do you think that person is valuable or not? Because when they die, they're going to have no worth at all. They're going to be crying, and no one in the world, not one of their millions of fans who are crazy, they're going to listen to their music, but is that going to help them in their grave? No. So when I was young, I had a heroine. Her name was Isabella. I'm going to tell it. I don't think I have time to tell the story, but it's a beautiful story. Her name was Isabella, and she was a princess in Spain. So if you know history, you know the Muslims ruled Spain for 700 years. And she became Muslim. She was a daughter of a priest. She became Muslim. And she lived until the age of 90. And she made thousands and thousands and thousands of people Muslim. And she actually founded the first Muslim women's school, like a Muslim women's alim course in Spain. So she was my hero, and I always wanted to be like Isabella. Me and my sister, we did talk about her story for hours every single day. So if you need to have a heroine, if you need to have someone to look up to, look for someone who's Muslim, look for someone who actually has worth, not someone, if the first second they die, they're going to be gone, okay? So remember that, always remember, like,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So stay
Allahu
here,
Akbar,
we're going to have a small dua in 2 minutes.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
And then we're going to make a very short drawing and in like 2-3 minutes. And then what I mentioned before, remember how I said I feel so excited about Ramadan? Remember what I said I feel super excited about Ramadan? So actually the truth is I'm more excited for Ramadan than I'm for Eid. So usually I never like buy clothes or anything for Eid or chocolate. I buy stuff for Ramadan. So I remember that, and I bought some chocolates for all of you for Ramadan, okay? So I basically celebrate Ramadan more. Eid is great, but Ramadan is like super special, especially for me because I have the whole Quran memorized. And in Ramadan we're like in a race. All my 6 brothers and sisters, we're all Hafiz, and we're all trying to like read Quran 24/7 so that we can read more. Just like it's really fun. So inshallah, all of you, I hope we're gonna make dua so Allah makes every single person in this room Hafiz, Alim. My objective is that every single one of you here will be better than me. You're gonna go up. You're going to go to every single city of the world. You're going to make a huge halaqah so every single person in this room is going to have a class bigger than this, and they're going to teach Islam to people, okay? And we're going to make dua so that Allah makes it easy for us. Does that make sense? Inshallah? So when I make dua, think of all the things that you also want from Allah and just say Ameen really from your heart, okay? And then inshallah we're going to distribute the chocolate to everybody, hopefully. If there's enough. Yeah, I think there will be. My sister got that, by the way. Okay, so inshallah we're going to start reading a few dua, and then in Arabic, and then we're going to like make it in English so that everybody can understand, okay? نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واهد الناس جميعا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم احسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واهد الناس جميعا. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم زدنا ولا تنقصنا واكرمنا ولا تهنا واعطنا ولا تحرمنا وآثرنا ولا تؤثر علينا وارضنا وارض عنا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من جهد البلاء ودرك الشقاء وسوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. يا رب العالمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا علي يا عظيم يا حليم يا كريم. Oh Allah, forgive all of our sins and the sins of all the Muslims in the world, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the millions and billions of people in this world who are not Muslim yet, oh Allah, change their hearts and make them Muslim and make them those of the people of the world who are yet not Muslim and who do not think Islam and Muslims are good, oh Allah, change their hearts and make them have positive images about Islam and Muslim. Oh Allah, all the millions and millions of Muslims who are suffering in the corners of the world, who are suffering from poverty, who are suffering from cold, hunger, disease, oh Allah, cure all of those Muslims and take all of their problems away and give them success in this world and the hereafter, oh Allah. Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Arham al-Rahimeen, oh Allah, all the millions of Muslims who are in prison right now, oh Allah, free them from imprisonment and give them success and give them happiness with Iman, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the millions of Muslims who are sick, who are suffering from terminal illnesses, who are suffering from diseases, incurable disease, oh Allah, give them shifa, give them complete shifa, so that they can live happily as good Muslims, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the millions and millions of Muslim youngsters in the world who are struggling to observe hijab, who are struggling to pray 5 times a day, who are struggling to follow Islam properly, oh Allah, make it easy for them. Make it easy for them to become proper Muslims, oh Allah. Oh Allah, don't test us in our religion and make us the best of the best Muslims, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the Muslim youngsters, all the Muslims who are here today, oh Allah, all the young people who are here, oh Allah, we're raising our hands to you, Allah, accept our dua, make Ramadan easy for us and all the Muslims, and make each and every single person in this room the greatest scholars of Islam, so that we can become the best hafiz, the best alama, the best mufti, the best scholars, and the best muhaddis of Islam. And we can use our knowledge to benefit Islam and Muslim and ourselves, oh Allah. Oh Allah, allow us to go to every single corner of the world and spread positive message about Islam to every single person in this world, oh Allah. Oh Allah, make this entire city, this entire country, and the whole world Muslim. Make our classmates and our teachers and our professors and our deans and our advisors Muslim. Oh Allah, even if they don't become Muslim, make them love Islam and Muslim like more than their own selves, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the millions of Muslim students who are giving their exams, who gave their exams, who are doing education in madrasas, schools, colleges, high schools, universities, oh Allah, make their education easy for them, make them brilliant, make them smart, make them successful, and give them the best of the best grades in all of their endeavors, oh Allah. Give them A+ and give them the highest honors in their institutions, oh Allah. Give all the Muslim students the highest scholarship, give them the ability to spread Islam to their colleagues and classmates, oh Allah. Oh Allah, keep us all mentally and physically healthy, oh Allah. Keep us mentally and physically healthy and beautiful with Iman, so that we can use our strength and we can use our health and wealth to do good things for Islam and Muslims, oh Allah. Oh Allah, make our hearts pure and love us the most in the world and make us love you in return, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the Muslims in this world who are struggling with their families, issues within their families, who are having struggles with their parents, or friends, or classmates, or siblings, oh Allah, make it easy for us and make us successful and make those problems go away, oh Allah. Oh Allah, all the Muslims who are struggling, who are suffering from poverty, loans, and other kind of financial difficulties, oh Allah, make all of their sufferings go away, make all the Muslim suffering go away, and give them sustenance and wealth with Iman, oh Allah. Make us all live and die as Muslims, oh Allah. Give us the best of the best death in the city of the Prophet ﷺ as shaheed, oh Allah. Oh Allah, allow us to do maqbool hajj and umrah every year in your house, oh Allah. Allow us to do Tarawih and fast properly, oh Allah. Accept all of our fasting, make it easy for us and all the Muslims, make Ramadan easy for us and give us more and more opportunity to get from the holy month of Ramadan and do good deeds in this month, oh Allah. Make it easy for us and make us successful. Make every single person in this room happy in this world and the hereafter. Make us lucky in this world and the hereafter. And make us the best of the best Muslim in this world and the hereafter. Oh Allah, protect us from committing sin, protect us from committing bad things, and only give us the ability to do the best of the best a'mals and the best deeds, oh Allah. Strengthen our iman and give us the heart of the anbiya so that we have feelings for other Muslims in our heart. Put feelings for other Muslims in our hearts so that we can pray for them and we can feel for them, oh Allah. Oh Allah, make us healthy and beautiful and keep us all healthy in this world and hereafter, oh Allah. Grant us the highest position in Jannah and protect us from the punishment of the grave and the punishment of the fire and the punishment of the hereafter, oh Allah. Oh Allah, every single person in this room, we have our wishes, we have so many things to ask for. A lot of students here, oh Allah, they have their educations, they have their homes, and there are a lot of issues that they're worried about. We're all worried about, oh Allah. Make all of our worries go away, even those things we didn't ask you for. Please, you know our hearts, so you can tell what we need, oh Allah. Fulfill all our good wishes. And protect us from all the things that we're afraid of. Protect us from all kinds of harm, oh Allah. Oh Allah, protect Muslims and Islam from harm. And don't let anyone in this world hate us, oh Allah. Don't let anyone hate Islam and Muslim. And don't let anyone think Islam and Muslims are bad, oh Allah. Change their hearts, those who think Islam and Muslims are bad. Change their hearts and give them positive images about Islam, oh Allah. Oh Allah, allow us to be the beacons of Islam. Allow us to write books and articles for Islam and spread it all over the world and circulate it to every single person of the world, oh Allah. Oh Allah, forgive our sins and grant us sincerity in all of our amals, oh Allah. Make us happy and make us healthy and make us beautiful, oh Allah. Oh Allah, accept all our good wishes and protect us from all kinds of harm, Ya Rabbal Alameen. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
ITV, Call of Peace, Save Humanity.